There he is.
What's going on? Stugotz, how are you, buddy?
Good, buddy. How are you?
I'm well.
What's up? Happy New Year to you.
You too. You too. Are we eating a lot today?
I'm not eating, and I'm wondering how Karl Ravech is navigating that, actually. It was one of my questions for you.
The good part about the Dodgers-Reds game last night is that it moved ours to 8. So I'm not a big eater. Not that I fast every day, but this one won't be very difficult.
You're going to be hungry, though, right?
I will be hungry, but I will say this, Stugotz, the Yankee ballpark food for the media is actually very good. So,
right. What's your favorite thing?
Well, it depends. Last night, I think they had skirt steak, which was really good.
Wow.
And we had our 6 o'clock game. The sun hadn't even set yet, so that's a good way to get into it.
It's a skirt steak. Jesus Christ, Ravech.
Yeah, really. No, I'm not joking.
Right. Listen, I don't know what to do here. Karl Ravech is with us. We've started, I guess, already. He is fantastic at what it is. He's prepping in his hotel right now. And I'm wondering, Karl, because and I'll get to my little incident here with Taylor and Mikey A in a second, because I'm certain they think I should do more prep work. But I'm wondering what prep work for a game like this looks like for Karl Ravech.
I would say it's learning about learning as much as I can about the two starting pitchers. There's no secrets about the Yankees and the Red Sox, but we have two puppies on the mound tonight. You know, you got Cam Schlittler. You got to be very careful with his last name. He'll acknowledge that many people have screwed up his last name. I think most of the Yankees just call him Schlitt, like Schlitz beer a long time ago.
Yes.
So Schlittler, you got to learn about him. And interesting, I know him in a weird way, Stugotz. So I don't know him, but I know his story. His dad is the police chief in the town I grew up in and where my folks live. Yeah. So his dad is the police chief in Needham, Massachusetts, which is where I grew up. And so I spoke to him about that. He's from Walpole, Mass. Now, how old are you, Stu?
I am 52.
52. So do you remember hearing about the snowplow game?
Of course, yes,
okay.
I remember. Yep.
So the snowplow game occurred when Ron Meyer and the Patriots were playing the Dolphins in 1982. And you remember it was snowing. There was a blizzard. And for some reason, they decided, it's going to be okay. Both teams, if you want to plow the field, a little small sort of snowplow you can. And the guy who drove that was on work release from the Walpole State Prison. That's the town that Cam Schlittler grew up in, Walpole, Massachusetts.
Right.
So that's the connection, and I remember it very well growing up in New England that this guy was on the snowplow that allowed John Smith to kick a 33-yard field goal. They won the game 3-0 over the Dolphins. So that's the town he grew up in. The prison no longer holds any inmates. It's closed, but his dad is the police chief. So I learned all about Schlittler and where he grew up. And the other guy early was at UVA a few years ago, pitching with Brian O'Connor. He's made 4 major league starts. 4. And now he's going into Yankee Stadium in a must-win game against the best offense by far in baseball.
Yeah, Stu, just to put into perspective what Conley Early is doing tonight, he will be the first pitcher ever to start a winner-take-all postseason game within 30 days of his MLB debut.
Wow. Yeah. Karl knew that,
Stu, I know you love stats.
Right. Yes.
I know you love stats. He's the youngest Red Sox pitcher to start a postseason game since your boy Babe Ruth in 1916.
Why is he my boy, Babe Ruth?
You guys are the same age.
Help me out here with Taylor and Mikey A. Both of them are Yankee fans, okay? Mikey A, I cannot believe I'm having this conversation and asking you this question. Mikey A Yankee fan, wants the Yankees to lose tonight. He'd rather lose the game and win the war because he thinks if they lose, Aaron Boone will get fired and maybe Cashman as well. Taylor, being a true Yankee fan, is not worried about the big picture. He is only worried about tonight. Who's right? Who's wrong? This is crazy.
There's no question who he's going to say is right and wrong.
Right. Well, let's see.
What do you? Why? What do you think? What do you think I'm going to say?
Taylor's right because you're not a fan when it comes. Well, you can't be a fan when it comes to this with your professionalism.
So I'll be honest with you, and having done what I've done for so long, I have been accused of being biased for every team, regardless of where I'm from or who I root for. I've let you know I'm from Massachusetts. You would think I would then be rooting for the Red Sox. What I do now, and Stu, you could probably appreciate this, Stugotz, when you're around these people long enough, and in the case of both Aaron Boone and Alex Cora, have worked with them.
Yeah.
I root for people. I don't care what team wins. I do not care. So I would take great pleasure, honest to God, in either one of these guys not only winning this game, but winning a World Series. I like when friends of mine do well. I want to see them have success. I do not have a horse in any of the races that I do. And in this case, I like both of these guys. I don't think if the Yankees lose tonight, Aaron Boone's going to get fired. I mean, Aaron Boone's one of the only guys that have taken a team, especially like the Yankees, in that pressure cooker to a postseason in 7 of his first 8 seasons. He's got Aaron Judge on his side, which is like an endorsement from AAA and every other organization that endorses anybody. If Judge says, I like Aaron Boone and I want him in this clubhouse, there's a good chance he's going to stay. So I don't think the outcome of this is going to determine the fate of Aaron Boone. If I were a Yankee fan, I'd want him to win because I think they'd have as good a chance to win a World Series as any team in the American League.
I put Mikey A in a bad spot because he knows, and we all know, that you are friendly with Aaron Boone. So it's Cashman that he wants out, okay?
It is Cashman that I want out, not Boone.
Go ahead.
I don't think Cashman's going anywhere. I mean, I really
so you
don't.
might as well root for them to win. That's what I'm saying, right?
I agree that neither is going to go anywhere. But if there was going to be something, if there was going to be one event to push it over the edge, it would be losing 2 out of 3 at home to the Boston Red Sox in a playoff series.
Well, there was a little risk reward. I mean, I thought when Booney went out last night to talk to Rodon and he left him in the game, I said to myself, well, wow, they lost game 1, and here's the decision to leave Rodon in. I understand the bullpen the night before wasn't very good, but a lot of that was on Weaver. That if this blows up here, now that could be a tipping point, and I still don't think he's getting fired, but my goodness, I mean, he's had 20 pounds of you know what dumped on him after game 1. That was a very big conversation he had, and Rodon got the double play that he needed, and obviously the bullpen was really good.
Karl, with how Alex managed the bullpen and pulling Bayo so quickly, did that kind of feel like the Red Sox were going all in to win that game too,
no doubt,
without thinking about game 3?
Yeah, and he's really good about accountability in that situation. Cora, after the game, it was quite clear if you're going to leave Garrett Whitlock in to throw almost 50 pitches, you're all in on trying to win this game, knowing that you have a kid on the mound in game 3 at Yankee Stadium against the best offense. No doubt about it. But as you know, to his credit, he does seem to manage aggressively. We had this conversation during the game last night. You tell me what you guys think. When you think about Aaron Boone and Alex Cora, the perception is that Cora manages using the analytics, but more so relies on his instinct and his eyes and what the game is telling him. And Boone relies more on the analytics, even though he's been around baseball since he was a child with his family being involved. So that's the perception. You tell me what you think the reality is. Is that fair to say that you think Boone manages more on numbers and pre-programmed, and Cora manages more on his own gut and instincts and eyesight?
It feels like the Yankees go in with a script and they don't really get off that script during the game. And I think that's the biggest complaint with Aaron Boone and the Yankees, where it's like, me and Mikey were talking about it yesterday, where if you do get rid of Cashman in this hypothetical situation where you can only get rid of Cashman or Boone, you get rid of Cashman, but then you tell Boone next year, no analytics, you just have to manage off guts.
Little analytics.
Yeah, I don't think there's an organization in baseball that will say no analytics or even little analytics. They're all into
Wait,
the
but Karl, wouldn't you prefer your manager to have a mix of both?
I think he does, though.
Yeah, you have to have a feel for the game,
Yeah, I think he does. I think last night was an example of it. I think that there were people who would have loved to seen him take Rodon out of the game. He didn't do it. I mean, it's quite clear that he was convinced by Rodon, and Carlos admitted it after. I want to stay in. He said, I watched the way he walked out. Apparently, for Yankee pitchers, the way he walks out, if he's taking you out or there may be some wiggle room. Rodon felt there was wiggle room. He convinced him, I'm staying in the game.
Postseason games certainly feel different for the players. I am wondering, do they feel different for the broadcasters?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I do. I think that there's far more attention paid to making sure you're really into the game. I mean, one of the texts I can share a text with you. I'm not pulling back the curtain too far, but so David Cohn, who of course works with us, was involved in a text chain with us this morning, and his response about last night was, great to be involved with just the game. Loved where we were at, stayed on the game the whole time. So it was cool to see everyone pivot to just doing the game. Very well done by everyone involved. And I think what he means is when we do regular season games, microphones are on players. There's a lot of other things, your storytelling, et cetera. And here, every inning is intensified. Every pitch is magnified. And we've had two really good games. I mean, outstanding games between the Red Sox and Yankees. The Chapman stuff in the ninth inning with the bases loaded was amazing. And then last night was as exciting as you can get because Rafaela's ball was a few feet from being a game-tying home run. So great games. It's very easy to get into the game and stay laser-focused on it.
We talked a lot about gut versus analytics. What kind of leash do you think these two starters are going to have tonight? Because I imagine it's going to be very short.
Yeah, I agree. I think very short. I think that's accurate. The thing about the Red Sox now, hitters, they've been exposed to all of these pitchers twice now. They've seen Cruz, they've seen Williams, they've seen Bednar back-to-back days. Those guys can all still pitch, but you've seen them. Now, if their stuff is good, they're going to be fine and they'll get through it. In the case of the Red Sox, I don't foresee any way. And again, I wouldn't put it past Cora to ask. I wouldn't put it past Whitlock to say I'm available. But he is their guy. He is the one that they need to have able to be ready. And after 47 pitches, I don't see how that's possible. But the Red Sox have an identity. There's beyond Garrett Crochet and maybe Roman Anthony, who of course hasn't played many games at all. Right. There's an identity about them that doesn't suggest the David Ortiz and Manny Ramirez days, the Nomar Garcia-Parra days, the Carl Yastrzemski days, if you want to go back. Like, Alex Bregman is not the Alex Bregman when he was younger and playing in Houston. Trevor Story is not the Rockies' Trevor Story. Those are two very good players. But look at the other lineup. You could start with Bellinger. You could go to Stanton. You have Judge. They have some monumental stars. Boston doesn't. So the idea that a Connolly early is starting this game, and you may go to Wilson again, and Weissert, and Zach Kelly, Chapman maybe for 2 innings, he'll figure out a way to try to get through it. All I do is knock on wood and hope that the game is close into the late innings, because with these kids on the mound, either way, it could be 4-5-1 after 2 innings. You never know.
Stugotz here for Omaha Steaks. You know what my favorite part of game day is? It's not even the game. It's the tailgate. I love a great tailgate. I've got my little routine, fire up the grill, crack open a cold one, and make sure the spread is right. And I'll tell you this, ever since I started getting Omaha Steaks delivered, my tailgate has gone from good to legendary. The burgers, juicy. The steaks, tender. Why am I whispering? They're perfectly aged, and you can taste the quality with every single bite. And the best part, it's all shipped right to my door. No stress, no running around, just high quality, Heartland flavor ready to hit the grill. Omaha Steaks is the official sponsor of tailgating, and there's a reason. They make game day unforgettable. They've been doing this for more than 100 years. America's original butcher, and every bite is backed by a 100% guarantee. So here's the play. Make game day delicious with the official sponsor of tailgating. Visit omahasteaks.com and get $35 off with promo code Stugotz at checkout. That's STUGOTZ, all capitals. That's omahasteaks.com, promo code Stugotz. Terms apply. See site for details.
Carl, I was at game 1 and game 2, and my heart was in my stomach in that 7th inning, first and second, Fernando Cruz pitching to Rafaela. One of the things I've learned from Stugotz is you have to find a way to one-up the take. Can you make the case to retire Fernando Cruz's number if you're the Yankees?
You have learned well, my friend. I'm so proud of you.
You want it right in? Should we just put it in Monument Park?
Yes.
Let's just do it maybe before the game, a pregame ceremony, given what he did last night. Let's just get Cruz's number right up there next to mantles and Ruths and I love it. Love the idea. I'm sure if we bring that to Randy Levine, he'd sign right off on it.
Maybe good. The statue with how passionate he was coming off the mound.
Yeah,
maybe that's the first. You
sent me a video saying I was terrified this ball was going out of the park. I mean, Karl, back to the fan bases that think you're biased. Okay, which of the fan bases is the loudest when it comes to that? Like the worst?
Well, having had this, first two games and the entire series in Yankee Stadium. It's been the Yankees. Last night, we had a guy screaming at us. So, we're right behind home plate. We had a guy screaming at us. Stop rooting. You're rooting. Hey, Coney, they're rooting. He's wearing a Yankee shirt. He wouldn't say which team we were rooting for, but social media certainly comes down on the side of me rooting for the New York Yankees. So I don't know. I have a Yankee guy screaming no rooting. I'm assuming if I were rooting for the Yankees in his mind, he'd be fine with it. So he must think I root for the Red Sox, where most of social media thinks I'm all about Aaron Judge. So which means to me we're doing it right down the middle, and it's great.
Yes.
That was Taylor,
what did that fan want David Cohn to do about it?
I don't know. Because Coney, of course, Coney is one of those who just doesn't give two bleed. He doesn't care. Like, really, what are you talking about? So he kind of played the, he what, Rudy, what are you doing? Pointing. He's hand gesturing. He's got his headsets on, so he's pretending he can't hear anything. I don't know, but the guy was just looking up at us, screaming, "No rooting."
So good. I like this. Cone, they're rooting.
They're rooting.
If anyone's rooting, it's David Cohn. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say it's not Karl Ravech.
He did pitch for both teams, but you're right.
Yes, but I don't blame broadcasters if they want to root. I know you don't do it. You want to stay neutral. I've told Wilbon this. I've told so many people this. I don't mind if broadcasters want to sprinkle in their fandom into the broadcast. I don't. I really don't.
Yeah, I've seen, I forget where it was. I just watched a telecast where they had basically one representative of one team and another representing the other, rooting for the team. I think it was the Ryder Cup where I saw where they had one guy rooting for Europe and one guy rooting for the U.S., which worked out really well for Europe the way things went. But Stugotz, I reached out to Joe Buck this morning because I know Buck has gone through this, and I said, "What in the world?" His last text to me was, "Hang in there. I get it. Don't let it change you or take away your fun. Blank them." So, and in a lot of ways, he sent me a great article too, which ultimately said you're thinking about or worrying about validation from people you don't know and you have no respect for. You respect yourself. Ultimately, the article said, as long as you are comfortable with what you are doing, then you're fine, and you can't worry about what social media or trolls are saying. But as he said, as I know, as we are human beings. We have families. People don't want to see that crap out there about their dad or their son or their husband, etc.
I'm glad Buck said that to you, because Joe Buck has become a friend. He's a friend of the show, and we have had that conversation with Joe Buck where I have told him, "Hey, what do you care? You're Joe fucking Buck. Who cares what some guy on Twitter has to say about you and your call?" And so I'm glad you both arrived there. That's great.
Yeah, no, I've been there, but I just thought, given baseball and his history with it, he'd be a great person to give some perspective on it. And like you, I like Joe a lot. He's a great guy. Yeah. He's a great sounding board. So it was a nice conversation.
Karl, on FanDuel, Stugotz was saying that he likes the Red Sox plus 134 on the money line tonight. And then I had to remind him, hey, it's the anniversary of Bucky Dent's home run.
It is.
Oh,
and then he said a game from that long ago doesn't really make an impact. But you kind of know baseball lore. Does a game from that long ago kind of carry over tonight with the ghost of, baseball past?
Yeah, no, I think the ghost flew out with Casper only because of their success recently here. Boston, of course, has won all these World Series since '04. They've kind of owned the Yankees in their head-to-head. I'm sure Stugotz immediately responded with, "Well, the Bucky Dent homer wasn't even in the postseason. I mean, that was to get into the playoffs." So
no, it was a regular season game, right?
Thank you. I think those things flew out the window in '04, and Bloody Sock and Kevin Millar coming from 3-0 and don't let us win the first. I don't think it applies anymore. Had they lost all those series, it probably would. But No, I don't think people think that way anymore. If anything, the Yankees are the ones that need to get the victory against the Red Sox.
The best team you've seen this year is who?
Well, probably the Phillies when Zach Wheeler was there.
Right.
And I'm not certain that they can't. I think they can still win it without him. The Mariners when they're healthy and going right, and that means all the offensive players are good, can be there. I think the World Series that ESPN sends out prior to the postseason, I think I had the Mariners over the Phillies or vice versa. I don't even remember, but I think those are the two teams that I had in the World Series, which makes for some really easy, simple travel, Philadelphia to Seattle.
What is better, calling the game yourself or listening or watching your son call a game?
Wow. So is it better, more enjoyable for me to listen or watch him call a game or me do a game?
Yes. I can tell you, like watching my daughter play sports, I played lacrosse growing up. It's easy to play. Watching her play, I'm a nightmare. I can't watch it, Yeah,
I know. It's a good question. And it's funny. I just had this conversation with Craig Breslow, not about his children, but he, of course, is the guy who is putting this Red Sox team together. And I said, you tell me, when you sit up in your box, are you a pitcher? Are you a manager? Or are you the general manager? And is it easier to pitch or to watch? And he said, oh, my God, pitching is so much easier than watching. But in the case of Sam, watching the Athletic games was hard. Seeing him do this is rewarding and wonderful, and he's damn good at it. So, I'd say watching him brings me more joy and listening to him because he's in control. In an athletic event, you're not. You got teammates and you can make human error. He's really good at this. So it's more fun to watch him than go and do a game. Although I'll tell tonight's a push. I get to call a game 3 of an elimination game, Yankees, Red Sox. This is a once in a lifetime. And if you believe all the reporting, we're not going to do wild card games next year. So this is what a fitting way to go out to call a game like this. It's amazing if this is our last wild card game.
It sure is.
You're setting it up. I mean, it's Yankees, Red Sox. Any moment could be the next Boone home run or brawl that throws Don Zimmer to the floor.
Or the Bucky Dent home run. Right.
Or Bucky Dent. Well, that wasn't the playoffs. But do you ever get see it happening and you're getting sort of nervous as the play is going to be shown over and over and your call of it is going to be shown over and over again with a series this big?
So you guys, Stugotz, you know Bill Pito, right?
Of course.
Yeah. So Billy and I used to live together in Binghamton, New York. I don't know if you knew that, but there was a whole bunch of us in Binghamton, New York. Trey Wingo was there. Pito was there. I was there. And Pito was one of these obsessed guys with the medium. Al Michaels, God-given. That's God-given, Ravi, right there. Al Michaels, God-given. So he was into all of the broadcast stuff, and I was into the sports side of it. I enjoyed the competition. I enjoyed playing more than I did broadcasting. So I would say, to answer that question, I don't script the final call. I've done championships of College World Series and Little League. I don't generally have something in my head that I want to say. I think after last night, redemption for the Yankees was not something I wrote down while prepping 5 hours before the game. It just felt like they were getting hammered from the night before. This was a redemption game. They get the lefties in, and Boone made the right call. So I don't worry too much about it, but I definitely am aware of bases loaded, no out, down by 2. This is a big moment, and let's see how Chapman navigates it and if Stanton's going to get the homer. So I don't fret over it. I don't worry too much about it, to answer your question, because I know a lot of people use these opportunities as here's my moment. Here's my chance. I'm going to say something. Al Michaels, do you believe in miracles? I don't. Maybe that'll cause me to have my career end after 33 years, but I don't do that.
I think you're fine, Carl. I think you're fine. Binghamton seemed like the place to be back in the day. Jesus,
it was a launching pad. No doubt about it. Launching pad, and many of those guys that we work with or lived with or went out to get chicken wings with. are all still in the field. One's a Hall of Fame broadcaster at upstate New York. His name's Matt Mulcahy. And, of course, Wingo's had great success. Pito, myself, it was a bit of a launching pad.
Go ahead,
Bearcats.
The Bearcats. He just wanted to say the Bearcats because he's me. That's all he wanted to do.
By the way, I went to SUNY Binghamton. I have a master's from SUNY Binghamton because when I was working at WBNG, which was the powerhouse in Binghamton, New York, it was in the basement of a nursing home. And when Pito left, he was the weekday sports guy. I was the weekend sports guy. When he left, I didn't get elevated to the weekday sports. I was relegated to continue to report. You're really good at that, and just keep doing the weekend sports. And at that point, it was, as I called my father and was, sort of commiserating about this decision. I got the impression he was sort of like, okay, well, you want to come home and get a real job. So I went to SUNY Binghamton for night courses in management and leadership. So I'm all about the Bearcats. Kornheiser, Bearcats, love it.
Where'd you go to undergrad?
Ithaca.
The Bombers.
Oh, God. You a Dead fan? You like the Grateful Dead?
My brother is a Dead or diehard Dead fan. I never got into it. But Matt Ravech, who you'd love, he's seen more Dead concerts than most Dead heads have. He big Dead guy. Not me.
All right. I'd like to have Matt on the show if you don't mind. Can
you should. You would be entertained. I promise you.
I can't wait. Wait, so Karl, when you got into the industry, you were not thinking I'm going to call, like, if I told you way back then that you would be calling Game 3, Yankees, Red Sox, Yankee Stadium, you would have laughed me out of the room, right?
Yeah, no, that was, the only reason I got into this field was I was a high school soccer player in Needham, Massachusetts, and absolutely destroyed my knee. And when I went to a guidance counselor in a cast, she said, "What are you interested in?" I said, "Well, not math and not science. So I like English and I like writing and I like sports." And she said, "Well, how about communications?" And I said, "Okay, what is that? That sounds good." I started writing for the Needham Times covering the high school hockey team. And that's what led to Ithaca and then Binghamton and Harrisburg and ESPN. But you got to remember, I mean, my bread and butter was in the studio. Of course, hosted Baseball Tonight forever. So the idea that I transitioned into play-by-play, and I'm grateful for it because we got rid of Baseball Tonight. No, I never would have thought it. I never was one of those that sat there on a couch and broadcasted games when I was younger. Ever. I was a runaround sport guy. That's how I tell my boys that used to be on computers and stuff. I said, no, outside and run around. And golf isn't a run around sport. So we got to go out and we're going to run around. And I was more interested in that side of it.
I'm glad you brought up Baseball Tonight. I've had this conversation with Boog Shambi. That is the most difficult job. Hosting that show, to me, was the most difficult job in broadcasting. Is that fair?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard people say it. Obviously, having done it for so long, it wasn't. You learn, tricks, and it certainly has served me well. You learn when you have no script or the monitors go out and you're doing a highlight show, but you can hear it, so you assume the people at home are seeing it. You hear a name and you kind of repeat the name. There are a lot of things that you learn. And I got to a place where I liked when things screwed up. We were doing a show one night with Kruk. And we had robotic cameras, the early days of robotic cameras. And at one point, when he's on camera, one of the robotic cameras is moving towards the set, and it's not stopping. So there's nobody behind it. And the robotic camera banged into the set while Kruk was talking. I kind of like when those things happen. I liken it to a pilot who is trying to move in and around thunderstorms, and you try to make it so that the passengers don't know it. I used to like the challenges when things didn't go according to plan, but nobody at home would know it.
Yes, that's where I'm most comfortable. No question about it. The two best words in sports. Game 3, Karl Ravech will be on the call. Yankees and Red Sox on ESPN tonight. We know it's a busy time for you. We appreciate it. We look forward to the call of your game. I look forward to having your brother on. I mean,
you'll do that. Stugotz, thanks. Good to be with all you guys. I appreciate it.